Well,
that sucks.
yeah, you can't always win, although you could win a lot. 7 in a row, and the winning streak comes to an end. The point streak comes to an end as the Stars lose 3-2 to the Ottawa Senators. Made it a little interesting at the end, and we'll talk about it. But they will not sweep this road trip. Now they have to go try to win in Toronto on Tuesday to see if they can make it still a stellar Eastern Conference swing. But we're going to talk about this one tonight as the Senators beat the Stars in Canada, a.k.a. Canadian Tire Center, right here on the DLS Dallas Stars postgame show.
Get ready, boys.
This is the DLS Dallas Stars post-game show. The logo says pre-game. That's not the right thumbnail, but that's okay. We know who we are. He's Craig Ludwig. He's Sam Nessler. That way. John Anderson is trying to figure out why the wrong graphic was just shown. I'm Owen Newkirk, but we're going to just soldier right on. Well, Luds, can't win them all. Stars playing second night back-to-back. Ottawa playing second night of
not a bad run, though.
Honestly, they've been playing really good hockey lately, and this one could have been different, but they kind of started to get pushed around in the second period. We're going to talk about it, like we normally do. I'm doing this only because Sean's not here, and he loves to just talk about the main themes.
Wait a second. Pushed around in the second period or
in the first
Definitely.
and third and
Well,
in game
not so
one?
much
for
in the
game
first.
two.
Pipe in, Sam.
Not so much in the
Game
first.
one.
I thought the Stars were the better team in the first, but the second, they flipped a switch. The Senators did, and it changed ever since that point.
Yeah, Dallas came out good. You know what it was? It was like, a minute and a half in the second period, and they didn't have any push back.
Yes.
After that, it was like those 2 goals took the steam out of them. Maybe you give a little credit to the goaltender on the other side in the first period that kept it to that 1 goal. But otherwise, and no excuses here because they both had to play the day before. Kind of nice being at home. Somebody's going to say, well, they had 2 extra hours of rest. That doesn't really matter.
No, it really doesn't. And the thing is that Pete DeBoer said before the game, the Stars head coach, that the big key was to get through the first period, stay within touch, and then that would set them up. He felt Montreal did that because remember, the Canadiens played Friday night in Washington, D.C. Then last night they had to sort of survive the early push by the Stars, made a game out of it, got it all the way to a shootout before Dallas won. If anything, I thought the Stars were the better team in the first period. And Sam, as we get into this, it started right away because Jason Robertson took 4.5 minutes. He scores his 11th of the year. He continues to look really, really good over the last month. Rope Hintz with the setup. Dodonov, Lundqvist was involved. They went from their deep corner all the way up the ice in transition and ended up with a finished through the 5-hole of Levi Marilainen, who got the start after a shutout last night yesterday afternoon in Pittsburgh.
That was a little bit of a old school Robertson 2 hints or Joe Pavelski 2 hints goal on that. That just looked like it kind of looked like Rope Hintz coming through the middle of the ice, taking that pass on the forehand and ripping it past the goalie. It was a great play. Great start. That's exactly what they needed. You're looking at some of the stats. The Stars are obviously a lot of teams are a lot better when they score first. But if you look specifically, these 2 teams, the numbers were very, very strong for scoring first. And if you're not trailing after 2 periods, I think neither team has won after trailing after 2 periods this season. So a lot of those numbers went into that. Scoring first was huge, but love to see Robo keep it going. Really, we knew it was coming, right? We knew that. Dismiss all of the trade Robo conversations early in the season because we knew he was capable of better, and he's been fantastic lately.
I thought that goal when it happened because I wrote down a 175-foot goal. I'm starting to do that, Sam, now. So, but what I liked about it was there was a gap between their 3 forwards that were in the Dallas Stars zone, but it was Nils, and then where did it go? It went Nils to Rupe to Dodonov to Rupe to Robo.
Yep.
and it was just clean all the way up the ice. And I thought, well, this is kind of how Ottawa's going to play tonight and get off on the right foot early. Robo keeps things going. Everybody feels good about themselves. And then, and then the second period happened. But I'm sure we're going to talk about some quality scoring chances here in the first.
I want to just mention that Jason Robertson now has points in 6 of his last 8 games. That's 12 points, including a very nice 4 goals. He has points in 11 of his last 16 games, 20 points, 6 goals, 14 assists. Why does he look so different to you?
I think it's this, I said this about a lot of these guys, especially the top guys, confidence, and I think he's feeling it. I think these guys, they feed off of, what they do and their accomplishments. And I think when they can back it up, and not necessarily game to game, but they're getting the chances, they're getting the looks, they're finding that they're going to the front of the net and they start going in. And it's all the little tiny things that add up. And at the end of the day, we said the same thing about Maverick Bourque. When we saw Maverick going, even right off the bat tonight, you're like, Maverick's going.
He looked.
And I just think that he's put, a bunch of games together and he's feeling good about himself. And I think that's the same thing that happened to Robo. It happened to Hintz. And, and tonight was just one of those games after the first period. It just seemed, those 2 goals, it just took the wind out of their sails and there wasn't enough to push back tonight.
The Stars had a power play in the first period. And Sam, this is something Luddy said to me as we were watching it. Jamie Benn had a play where he took the puck to the net. You love that. You've been clamoring for them to do that more. Out of the left corner, he went on the backhand. But Luddy, you had one issue that you noticed because Jamie was the one that did that play.
Jamie was the only one that did that play. And I didn't like that I think it was Rupe on one side and it might have been Robo on the other, but nobody else gravitated to the net. It was like if there was going to be a rebound, Jamie was the only one that was going to have to get the rebound. So all of a sudden, where there's an open area that Ben takes it to the net, now they get their 2 guys that collapse on Jamie. Well, the other 2 guys that I was hoping would get in there, they weren't. And so it was a good play by Jamie, but he needed some help after the first save.
And that power play, again, it was the second unit that looked better than the first. Sam, our conversation here at the studio was they're more direct. And because of that, they seem to get more out of it and even a second or third chance opportunity. Whereas the top unit, very skilled, maybe as Luddy was telling me, maybe they believe that they can score on just one opportunity, but they're not getting the volume at all.
I'm in full support of simple hockey, especially when your power play. We know the power play has gotten a little bit better, right, lately, but they're still 27th or whatever they're going to be after tonight, right around that 27, 28 mark of the NHL. That they're not getting enough consistent power play scoring, and I believe it's because they're not simplifying it. They're clearly the lateral passes and using the same entries, that's not working, and that's why I think the first unit is struggling. They're trying to find that perfect play, and we've talked a million times about Miro versus Thomas Harley. I think the biggest difference between those two is that Miro just doesn't seem to want to shoot the puck ever, and I know Luds has talked about this before. Couple times I saw it in Montreal yesterday, and a couple more times you see tonight where he has a little bit of room and just get it to the net. You have a great shot, shoot for a tip, shoot for a rebound, shoot to score or whatever, but he just doesn't seem to want to release it. And that's what Thomas Harley does. Thomas Harley is moving his feet, looking to shoot. And if they take away the shot, he's already moved his feet and opened up something else. And I think that you'll see later, we'll talk about the second period, the reverse goal for offside. That's another simple play that they did score on, where Robertson and Hintz just play a little 2-on-1 from down low, simplify the game, get an odd man rush, and go from the short side. And I just think they need more of that. And I think that's why that second unit is doing what they're doing. They're just simplifying, and it's working.
Yeah, Sam, I think the way I look at it, and you describe it perfectly, is like one unit, the second unit, they only get out there with, whatever time is left on the clock, but they're a little bit more direct. And they're a little bit more desperate, in my opinion, to get pucks to the net. Number one, because that's the way they play, but because there's only 20, 30 seconds on the clock left in the power play. And so when you're a little bit more direct, the other players that don't have the puck, they know 1 pass, 2 passes, we're going to the net because it's going to the net. And when you talk about Miro, I think that they're so used to the setup and the ding, ding, ding play is nobody goes to the net because they know now it's going to go back out here, then it's going to go down here, then it's going to go back out here, then it's going to go here.
Yep.
Where if you put, I'm not saying, again, if you put Thomas Harley there, or even when Thomas Harley is out there on the second, they know that the puck's going to the net. And so maybe if there was somebody else there that's a shooter, or Miro just have that in mind, we're going to be a shooting power play. Well, then there's going to be two guys waiting around the front of the net because we know we're not going to keep it on the perimeter.
How about Luds? How about they just, instead of, even if they're not going to change anything, how about just split it 50-50? One group gets 1 minute, the other group gets 1 minute. Instead of giving that unit 90 to 100 seconds of power play time, talk about wanting to be more direct and more urgent. Of course you're urgent. You got 20 seconds before the power play is over. The other group knows they have 90 seconds. They could go back and regroup a few times if they have to. Maybe that's the secret. Maybe they just need to say, if you don't get a chance in a minute, you're coming off and we're putting the other unit on.
See, what I do is I go in the power play meeting that they have all the time, and you can have both groups in there. And you can describe how one group is a little more direct and one is a little more perimeter, looking for that perfect play, the highlight, real goal. And again, it's great when everything's working well for a unit. But after I show that stuff, and then I get to the next game, the very first power play, I send the second unit out.
Yeah, see, that's what they haven't done yet.
And you start that.
Yeah.
And they do what they do. And now maybe it sends a message to your first power play group, we better start getting pucks to the net because we want to get our time back, because we want to get our points and everything else. So I think it's a subtle way to say, if you're not going to do it, we're not going to wait, we're not going to give you the first power play to watch you not do it again. And so we're going to let those guys do it, and we're going to create some momentum. It's your job now as the first or second unit, whatever you want to call them, to keep that momentum going. Because even if you don't score, that momentum, when you get opportunities and you make them four guys work in there, it carries over to the next full line that comes out there.
And we've been talking about Harley being the better offensive player of the two quarterbacks than Miro Heiskanen. Not saying that Miro isn't fantastic. He's an unbelievably good defenseman. He's the best player the Stars have. But especially because they only have one point of attack, which is through Jason Robertson on their top power play unit. They don't have a threat on the other side. So if they did, I think Miro would be fine because he's a good distributor. He can move the puck. He clearly has the patience and the skating ability to set those guys up if he had one on each flank. But because he doesn't, he now needs to become the second point of attack along with Robertson, and he just hasn't been, whereas it seems like Harley's been more dangerous with those shots and his ability to just meander into those dangerous areas, getting closer to the net. And he's not even getting a lot of power play time right now because Miro's been going for 1.5 to almost 2 full shifts of that.
So let me ask both you guys. First, you, Sam. Who's the quarterback on our top power play unit?
It's
Enough
Miro
said.
Heiskanen.
Enough said.
It should be Miro Heiskanen, but it's not revolving around him, so they don't have one.
What would you say?
I mean, I think right now I want to see Harley.
No, but I'm saying on the number one unit, who would that quarterback be?
It's supposed to be Miro.
Okay, so I agree with you.
Yeah.
And I think Miro's just such a good kid, right? But Miro needs to go into the pile before they take the first opening faceoff, whatever they're doing, and say, guys, I'm shooting the puck.
Yes.
That's what the quarterback does. I'm setting the tone for it. I'm shooting the puck. And it may not be what they're drawing up on the board. It may not be what Spotter puts up on the board just so John can pull up the little deal here. But I mean, I don't know. I think you got to take it upon yourselves. You know, I mean, the 5 guys that are out there, they're all great players and they're money guys. So take it upon yourselves. And maybe that needs to be Jamie, since he's the captain. Say, Miro, you get it there, shoot the puck, because it's going to be me and Rupe are going to be, or whoever it's going to be. We're going to be standing in front of the net.
Well, they did get one later, and we'll talk about that. But at the end of the first period, Josh Norris had a one-timer in the low slot. Great save by Casey DeSmith. And the reason why I bring that up is that all the stuff that Dallas did well, they gave Ottawa only 4 shots on goal in the first period. They were better in quality chances. They had the first goal of the game. The only thing they didn't do well was score on the power play. It was sort of split up because it was 4-on-4. Both teams took penalties. It just felt like maybe that started something, because when you got to the second period, which we're going to get to in a moment, all of a sudden the Senators were a much better team. And we're going to talk about that next here on the DLS Dallas Stars postgame show.
Rugged Road is dedicated to creating innovative and durable outdoor gear for our adventurers who demand the best. Our products are designed with the highest quality materials and craftsmanship, ensuring they perform in the toughest conditions. Whether you're on land or water, Rugged Road gear is built to accompany you on every adventure. Crafted to handle the toughest environments, our coolers are built to last, ensuring they can keep up with any adventure. The coolers are guaranteed to keep their contents cool for up to 7 days. Perfect for a variety of outdoor activities, from fishing and tubing to camping and tailgating. These coolers are designed to meet the needs of every outdoor or sports enthusiast. So, gear up for your next adventure with Rugged Road coolers. Reliable, durable, and built to be used. Rugged Road is your ultimate outdoor companion. So head over to ruggedroadoutdoors.com and use code DLLS for 10% off.
All right, let's talk about game time. You know, the NCAA College Football Championship game is on January 20th, Notre Dame against Ohio State. What better way to enjoy it than in person? And by doing so, you need Game Time. Game Time has a new feature called Game Time Picks, which makes getting tickets for your favorite live events even easier because it filters out all the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats, so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. They have wonderful features in Game Time Picks. It curates to make it easier to save more on sports, concerts, comedy, theater, you name it. All in pricing. It's a feature so you can see everything up front. No surprise fees at checkout. I personally like that. Show me the end price. I don't want to see what it is plus the fees. I want to see it all right up front. Plus, you can get great panoramic views of your seat in the app before you buy, so you know exactly what you're getting. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use the code DLLS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem the code DLLS for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last-minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. All right, I don't know what
Game
happened.
time.
Thank you, Sam. I don't know what happened to the second period, but it's like the Senators sort of took the governor off and got up to full speed. Maybe it was because of the travel. They got, I would imagine they probably got back to, well, they had the earlier game, so maybe it was about the same time. I was going to say it's pretty late for them. But it was one-way traffic to start period two, and that just led to 2 goals in 39 seconds. And you could tell right off the hop, as Razor loves to say, they were going. Norris right at the first couple of seconds. Shabbat. Wyatt had one chance where he missed, but then Jensen, Clevin, Sanderson. Ottawa had only 4 shots on goal in the entire first period. They had more than 4 shots in the first couple of minutes of the second period, as they would get humming even before the first goal.
I think this was a case of the captain, Brady Tkachuk, going into the room after the first and saying, this is unacceptable. We're at home in front of our fans, where they are in the standings. And, there's a team there over there. They're the standard. Let's go out and raise our level. And they did within the first 3 or 4 minutes of that period.
Well, they got the tying goal at 3:14 as Josh Norris scores a really nice midair redirection on a floated pass by Batherson from the corner. Norris has been struggling to score lately. Batherson just got off a long goal drought. Nick Jensen got an assist on it as well, tied it at 1. And I'm going to go back to Luds first before we go to Sam, because this was a case where you immediately pointed out who, if they're really playing man-on-man, which after 42 games, it sure seems like that's what they're doing defensively.
Well,
they've missed something there.
Yeah. I mean, it's a result of coming back to your own. And I preach on it all the time. As forwards coming back into your own zone, you have to come back in. And when it initially gets over the blue line, both defensemen end up going to the puck carrier. That's 2 defense. If you're watching, both of those defensemen are over there on 1. And then my problem is if you're a forward coming back into the zone, you don't stop your feet and just consider that everything is covered. You have to keep your feet moving. And on this particular one, it's Jason Robertson coming back to his net. And what he does is, if you're looking right here at the top of the hash marks, he stops his feet and he starts to coast.
I actually misspoke and set you up because I was talking about the third goal. So let's continue, but that was all.
I thought we were
me.
doing it in chronological order.
Yeah, I was thinking about
Sean doesn't like that. You're doing what Sean wants.
Completely got distracted. Okay. On that. So yes, this is on the rush.
Yeah, we're off the rush. I mean, you're coming back into your own end. You've got to continue to come, and don't just say I got my guy out there. Somebody's got to come into that low slot, and whether it's the first forward, back, or whatever. In this case, I think both defensemen made a mistake here also. But there's 2 guys that are ahead of our third guy coming into the zone, which is the only guy coming in to the slot area. But what Robo does is he stops his feet because he doesn't sense danger. Well, ultimately, when the pass is made across, it's a tap out of the air. So he pops it out of the air.
It's a very high skill play.
Yeah, it's hand-eye coordination. But you can see Robo still coasting, and he's 2 feet behind. And I don't care if he's 2 feet or 2 inches. If he continues to come back, again, there's another player coming in off to to the right side of Smith, maybe that puck goes across because you pick up the most dangerous guy, but he doesn't, and ultimately that's what results in the goal.
Go back one frame, if you would, please, John. Does Nils, in your mind, have to come over and challenge Batherson since he's got his defensive partner coming back to defend, and he's in the corner?
There's no reason to be over there. I mean, you've got your partner there. You got, again, as a defenseman, what your job is on a 3-on-2, because before Robo comes into the picture, it's a 3-on-2. Okay, by Nils going over there, now you turn it into a 2-on-1 in front of the net. But what your job is on a 3-on-2 as a defenseman is to buy time. So you let the puck carrier stay wide and allow that forward to get back into the play. You want him to hang on to the puck, hang on for another 2 seconds, because that allows your third guy coming back to pick up the late guy, which that doesn't happen. Like I said, there was no reason for both defensemen to be over there, which was Nils. There was no way he should have gone there. And then Robo stops his feet.
Now, Lyubushkin is the other defenseman there, and they don't usually play together, the two right shot defensemen. I don't know what happened on that play, if there was one guy got stuck in a change or how that
it's
rotation.
No excuse.
Right.
The bottom line is,
still know how to play hockey.
Nils sees Lyubushkin is on him, and he just continues to skate over there.
All right, now I remember what goal we were at. So let's go to the second one.
You can have that. You can have this one then,
Sam. 39 seconds apart, and it went from 1-1, or it went from 1-0 to 2-1 down. Stars had the lead, and they lost it in such quick succession that it didn't even make it into 4 minutes of the second period before Tim Stützle gave Ottawa the lead.
It was the second period. I think Lud said it. Stopping your feet and coasting. That was pretty much the theme for the entire second period for the Stars. And, it's part of that might be fatigue from the game yesterday and the long trip and all these other things, but you could see it where they took a step back in their speed and their approach and their decision-making on that last goal. And Ottawa just simplified. They went hard to the net. They threw the puck to the net, and it gave them 2 quick goals and changed it. I mean, that changed everything, right? This game was, the Stars probably felt really good about themselves. And then all of a sudden they're getting run. And all of a sudden they look up and it's 2-1. That probably takes a pretty big gut punch to the team. And as we'll talk about right now, Casey DeSmith had to be really good to make sure it wasn't 4 or 5-1.
Yeah, and this is a carbon copy of the first one. Unfortunately, this time it was Matt Duchene, and it actually started out in the neutral zone. Duchene at the far blue line stopped his feet. Then as he gets through the neutral zone, it's the same thing. This is a 4-on-3. Duchene doesn't keep coming back, and as it gets closer to the net, in the next frame that we're going to look at, and then here where the puck's at the net, but the one guy that's open, because Duchene stops his feet, you can see him reaching. He's only a second behind him, but if he's there, he's probably able to lift that stick up. But again, you have to understand that if there's a 3-on-4, 2-on-3, and I'm the first forward coming into the zone, whether you're a centerman or a winger, you've got to come back. You've got to come into the high danger area and help out, and we don't. And within what was it, a minute and a half, or whatever it was?
30
seconds?
39 seconds.
The game flipped
39.
in my opinion, the game flipped on two, I don't want to call them lazy, but two guys that didn't continually work because they didn't sense any danger happening in their own zone.
And Luds, on that last play, you see Ben probably should be there as well. Correct me if I'm wrong. That's 2 open guys up top on the last shot.
You're right, Sam. Like they should, and this has been an issue, right? This has been an issue for me. Is like, look at how far they are. Jamie and Duchene, both of them, coming back through the neutral zone, they're outside the dots. They're so wide that when you come back, you kind of want to funnel into the high traffic area. Now, Jamie's defenseman, in his defense, Jamie, when it comes across the blue line, that he's going to have his guy in control. But regardless, if he sees that Duchene's not getting there, there's nothing wrong with having 2 guys there. If it ends up going through all of these and it goes back to one of those defensemen, or there's actually only one left, all you have to do is really turn around and try to get in a shooting lane. But again, it's lesser of 2 evils. And
I'm not arguing at all. Hold that frame right there. Even with Duchene behind the play, you still have a 4-on-3. Defensively with 3, you should be able to at least force force the worst possible shot, not give away the best.
But again, the system is this is Essa that on the puck carrier. He's thinking this is my guy.
Right.
And this is what happens when you play this kind of a system is you focus on the guy that's yours and your head doesn't, it's like a racehorse. The racehorses, they put blinders on, right? So they don't see what's out here. They don't look around because they're like, that's my guy. And we're gonna touch on the third. What's that? The fourth goal, third goal now. And it's gonna be the same thing. So, anyways, they get blinders on. They say, "Here's my guy," and everybody else has to do their job. And I always call this a cop-out kind of system because if let's just say S has got his guy and somebody else scores, it's like you come back and like, well, I had my guy. Well, there's breakdowns in hockey. It happens all the time.
And that's what happens with Dumba behind the net there. Dumba falls, and instead of Ben being in a spot where he's already hovering down low and covering that top guy, he's got his guy who is way up at the blue line behind him, not a threat because he's changing. So you're right, Luds. It just puts you in a position where you think, my guy's changing, he's coming from behind here. I don't need to shrink down another 2 or 3 feet and help out. I just think that's not the right way to do it.
And you see Sam, listen, they're going to win games during the regular season. And the consequences aren't the same as if it happens starting in game 83 and 85 and 87 and 90, however far they get in the playoffs. I don't want that to happen in game 6 or game 7 of the second round where, I got my guy here, well, that's how we cut.
Yeah.
So, but again, this is how the process of learning, and they're going to go through all this kind of stuff, hopefully, and they'll recognize that.
All right, so after that, it was more of the same. Norris had a 2-on-1 rush where he ended up shooting from the right slot, the inside of the right circle. DeSmith made a great save. Sam made the point earlier that DeSmith kept him in it because it could have been much, much worse. Rope Hintz did have a wide-open one-time wrister in the low slot that Merrillainen made a really good save. They had a power play. Ottawa did. Dallas didn't really give up much. Their penalty kill continues to be a real strength. By the end of the period, I'm going to get to the two big talking point of the second period in a second, but it was a 17-6 scoring chance edge in that period for Ottawa, whereas in the first, it was 8-6 Dallas. 17 for Ottawa in the second period. And why do I bring that up? Well, they almost tied it with a power play goal as Rope Hintz got a pass from below the goal line by Jason Robertson and finished. It would have been 2-2, but the Senators coaches threw the challenge flag. I know there's not actually a flag, and they challenged for offside. On the Victory Plus game broadcast, we saw a couple angles, and it wasn't really easy to see. Here's the one that's on the line, and you can't really see where the puck is, so there's really no way you can make that choice unless, because they can sync and coordinate, they know that this frame is stopped as the puck goes over. But if you look at the game broadcast camera, the main camera, which we saw later in the intermission report, you could actually see that Hintz is 1.5 feet offside.
I feel bad for the announcers. I feel bad for Josh and Razor because that one that's coming right down the blue line where the cameras are on the bench there, they don't even get to see that shot. And I don't understand why they don't get to see that. I want someone to tell me why. I mean, it's been like that for a while. They get to see all the other angles. That shot that we see, that's a tough angle to see it from because you don't even see the puck, but it's the one that when they came back from a break or whatever it was that we saw was a real good look at it.
And the problem is that from a broadcast perspective, it's always tricky because they can't necessarily see it and then say, and you're trying to sound like you're knowledgeable and try to tell the viewers why the call was made. And if you don't get the right view, and it's not any of the broadcasters' fault, it's not the TV truck, they're all trying to see it. And I think my guess is that they went back during the intermission or after the goals was disallowed and they continued. Somebody went and watched a replay and found it and said, okay, this is a better view. So it sometimes just takes time.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard. It's not easy. Yeah. And I'm sure, that's why I was asking Sam Mahunka. The very last look that we got to see, I'm sure you saw it also. Well, that was clear as day. But I said, I just wonder if Mark Vittorio, when the truck, says, hey, let's go look for some other looks. And then he finds that one. And then we see it after it's all said and done.
Well, I'll tell you what, a phenomenal save by Casey DeSmith late in the second period on a cross ice pass that Luddy and I weren't even sure initially that got through.
Yeah. No, you knew right away.
I thought so.
You knew right away.
But Claude Giroux got it, one-timed it from the bottom of the inside bottom of the slot, right about the circle. And DeSmith stuck his left leg out and got it with his foot. But it was also, a great save, but beneficial because of the angle that Giroux took of the shot.
Yeah, I think the pass comes across pretty quick, and Giroux's just trying to make sure he gets all of it, but he actually shoots it back into DeSmith. I think if DeSmith wasn't there, it probably would have hit the center post in the net. But regardless, Casey had to do everything he could just to get over there and get it with his foot.
All right, so we go to the third, and Sam, this is the goal I was complaining about. I'll let you talk about it, and then Letty's going to show us the detail. But this is Matthew Highmore scoring, And in doing so, 21 seconds into the third period really kind of rendered the Stars' hopes of getting back into this game monumentally harder.
Yeah, I mean that's 2 gut punches, right? In the 10-minute span or 5-minute span, whatever that was. And I was looking at some of the numbers. The Stars, like I mentioned before, are now 0-11 when trailing after 2 periods. They're 9-2 when tied after 2 periods. So that goal could have swung that game in a way different direction. And instead, they get the overturned goal. They go in. They're thinking, hey, all we need to do is get one, win 1 period, try to force an overtime, at least get a point out of this game. And 21 seconds in, they get chasing back to their own net again. It was like over and over again, they just were chasing. And that goal was a perfect example of what Lutz was talking about before. A lot of guys standing still, a lot of guys kind of lost. Even Casey DeSmith is spinning around in his net, ends up falling and flailing the wrong way. It was just not focused and not skating hard enough to the right areas in that goal. And Ottawa was ready again. They came out skating hard, and they knew, throw it to the net. Let's push to the net hard. This team cannot keep up with us right now when we go to the net. And they were right.
Yeah, this is another one when it's man on man. And, Miro, when he was behind the net, he was actually kind of right near Highmore. And I think he was kind of with him. And then there's Miro comes out to the left of Casey. Highmore comes around the back of the net to the other side. Well, everybody says, I got my guy. And Highmore is the guy that was behind the net with Miro. So in all reality, the way they play, Miro is supposed to go behind the net and then go find that guy and stay with them. Which, and even in a normal system, the defenseman's not going to chase anybody behind the net in that kind of situation. You'd come out and, go get him on the other side, but he just stays there. And so ultimately, I guess the way you're going to write this up is the other 4 guys are going to say, well, that's Miro's guy, which I know. I'll just stop there. I'll stop there.
Doesn't happen very often. 3-1 Ottawa at that point. We'll talk about the other goal and wrap up our recap as we get to the Super Chats next here on the DLS Dallas Stars postgame show.
First, let's talk about Saturday Neon. Started by 2 college friends, Saturday Neon makes officially licensed collegiate logo LED neon signs, perfect for your home, office, dorm, fan cave, or bar. Check out their new Essentials collection featuring almost 50 of the biggest schools across the country and counting for only $75. Texas, Texas A&M, Texas Tech, Oklahoma, Oklahoma State, all included. Unlike traditional neon, these LED signs won't break or shatter, but they still give you the classic uniform glow that you know and love. They're super easy to install using the provided hardware or with simple 3M command strips. The perfect gift for this upcoming holiday season. Head over to SaturdayNeon.com and use the code DLLS for 10% off your favorite sign.
Time for us to talk about the East-West Shrine Bowl. America's oldest college football all-star game is being held right here in Texas on January 30th. Be a part of history in the making at the 100th East-West Shrine Bowl. I can't speak tonight. East-West Shrine Bowl at AT&T Stadium. Since 1925, the game has benefited Shriners Children's and its mission to provide innovative pediatric care and specialty care to improve and transform the lives of children. See some of the nation's top college football players play in this head-to-head competition ahead of the NFL draft. Some of the largest names in football have played in the East-West Shrine Bowl, like Tom Brady, Walter Payton, Roger Staubach, Lawrence Taylor, and more, plus popular current NFL players like Brock Purdy, Isaiah Pacheco, and Zay Flowers also played in the 22 and 23 games. Cowboys East-West Shrine Bowl alumni Brian Anger and Rico Dowdle. East-West Shrine Bowl has served as the starting point for many noteworthy NFL careers, including 80 members of the Pro Football Hall of Fame and more than 200 members of the College Football Hall of Fame. Tickets start at just $20 and use the code DLLS when purchasing 2 or more tickets to receive 50% off. Visit shrinebowl.com to buy your tickets today. Okay, down 3-1 in the third. The Stars had a great chance from Wyatt Johnson as he was falling down, and Marilina made an excellent save on that. But that was about it through most of the period. A couple of chances. Dallas had more than Ottawa. Ottawa was on defensive cruise control, kind of like that prevent defense in football. And then they go to 6-on-5. Extra time, they're down 2. They need 1. Top unit was out there, had a couple of shots. Robo had 1 on net from the face-off win, sort of low angle. They used their timeout. They tried a little bit more. And then, Luddy, they ran out of some energy, and so they had to put out the next wave, and they scored.
They've been the plumbers.
Yeah.
Plumbers go to work every day.
Hey.
Right? Right, Sam?
That's what I'm talking about.
I loved it, and I loved that those guys scored. And I said, I wonder if they're going to come back with the big guys, or are they going to let the Plumbers go back out there and finish it off? And right decision. I mean, you got the high end guys get out there for the last minute and something.
Yeah, they did. I mean, Dodonov got the goal from Blackwell and Stankoven, who does get an assist. He could desperately use a goal, but with 52.7 seconds left, they have a shot. They don't get any scoring chances. And I believe I heard today that all of last season, there were 34 instances where a team scored a extra attacker goal and went on to win the game. And that doesn't count all the times that a team scores an extra attacker goal and they lose the game, or they don't score, or all those things. The point is about 2% of the time of the games in the NHL, they get one of those circumstances. So it's a high risk. You're already going to lose anyway. Why not take that shot? But this goes back, Luds, to that first unit, second unit power play thing. It's a few different personnel of the 6-on-5, but still, they need a little bit more of that directness. Again, look, they just won 7 in a row, so going 7-1 over 8 games is nothing for us to get upset about. But the power play, and I have the numbers for it, hasn't been good all year, right? They are at 16.5%. They're in the bottom third of the NHL, 27th coming into tonight. Last year through 41 games, they had the 11th best power play at 23.3. If they were operating at 23% on the power play right now, they might be one of the top record teams in the entire league.
Yeah, special teams.
Especially with their goaltending.
Right? And when you say special teams, that means both sides. And the goaltending, I think, has been above average for this group. I mean, Casey's done well. Jake has done well, obviously. And, right now it's just what's their combined power play and PK? What's
this
the combined?
year?
Yeah. Are we up around 110?
Going into today, they were right around 101, I think.
Yeah. See, and the old number was like 104.
Yep.
If you use the PK, we're talking about if you take your penalty killing percentage and your power play percentage and put it together, back, now there's a lot more power plays and things now. So it's kind of, you can get up to somewhere around 108 to 110.
That's a really good number.
That's a good number.
Yeah.
I mean, you're on the right side of both sides of the special teams.
I just got real quick. I just want to say they have the number 1 penalty kill now in the NHL, so that's the positive.
It's been going back and forth by a tenth of a point with Carolina.
Yeah,
so.
up and down. But that's a really solid thing. But Luds, I got to say, and we can talk about it more on a show when we have longer time. But it's gotten to the point for me where I'm no longer waiting to see. Remember, we talked about their physicality and lacking physicality, and the reason they did it so well last year is because they would score on the power play. That I'm beyond that at this point. I just see this team getting hit way too often, pushed around way too often, and not making anyone pay. I mean, yesterday in Montreal, seeing Thomas Harley get run multiple times, Heiskanen getting run from behind, and just no response and maybe Jamie Benn has a response once in a while. That's about it. That's okay if you're going to go score goals and punish them on the ice. I don't see it either way. And for me, I think you have to address it. I don't think you can wait any longer and say,
but how?
Play eventually. You need more physicality. Either you need to tell your group to get out there and have anybody.
So do you want more hitting, or do you want fighting reaction?
No, not
I can answer
fighting,
this.
Just more.
I'll answer this, Sam,
ahead,
for you. I don't want you putting your brakes on when you're literally a foot away from a guy and you put the brakes on not to hit him.
Yep.
I don't think anybody's asking anybody to run people through the boards. It doesn't happen like that. There was one in particular tonight behind the net, and it was halfway through the third period, and it was Lyubushkin. And he goes back, and he's no further from you and I away, and he stops. And I'm like, wait a second, that's not what his game is. So I think it's contagious too. I think when teams play, yep. And there's always 3-4 guys. Like we talk about Jamie all the time. It seems like he's the one that has to set the tone all the time. But unfortunately, it seems like he's the only one that has a steady diet of it.
Yes.
But when guys are going into the corner along the wall, and the puck carriers are, and when we put the brakes on, and I hate it with our younger kids, and I tell them, you know what? It takes more energy to put your brakes on and get started to go again than just to go right through the guy and just finish him on the wall. Let him know that you're there and then it's not going to be an easy night.
Well, let's go to our super chats now, as we will try to get everything we can, including some of your regular chats, if you have anything you want to throw at us.
Bing bang.
Ardell, a little Ludwig. Could be Dumba, but it's probably Ludwig. Why was this game not at 7 p.m.? Blame Canada?
I don't know. That's a good question, Ardell. No clue.
It's a tough turnaround.
Now maybe it's because the travel wasn't very far, but I thought there was a rule where they couldn't start the next game of a back-to-back less than 24 hours after the first one.
No, I think it's 20.
Is it 20?
I think it's 20.
Yeah.
But it doesn't happen often.
No, the Stars usually don't. And
I don't know.
There's another one coming up where they'll be in Colorado. They'll play an afternoon game and then a night game when they come back. So it gives a little bit of, it's more than 24 hours.
Well, I've heard that Canada is going to be part of the United States, so maybe it'll get straightened out.
Yeah, I mean, you never know.
That's what I hear is going on.
Bing bong.
By the way, Ardell had to double up on this one with a Lundqvist and a Haskin. And Miro has zero stupid cowboy DNA. It's part of what makes him a great defender. Being risk-averse also hurts him on offense. No risk, no biscuit. Look, again, I'll go back to what I said in the first segment. Miro Heiskanen is plenty good enough to be the quarterback of your power play. But your power play needs to have weapons to score because Miro's shot, which is fine, is not one of the elite power play shots in the game, right? We saw that last night with Patrick Laine. He has an elite shot. Alex Ovechkin, he has an elite shot. I even think a guy like John Carlson with Washington still can pound
even the guy
puck.
I don't like, Erik Karlsson.
Yes.
He's a great power play guy. You know, I mean, he's got a great shot. He's got a great wrister. And Miro, I think, in the last 20 games on the power play, I think Miro has 3 points, 3 assists.
And he should be piling with the way he can set up plays and move.
But the reason it doesn't happen is because he defers to who's ever on the half wall. Then it goes here, then it goes down. You know, I mean, the plays that we see are, it was nice that they changed up the play. There was a little tweak on the one that got called back, right? So there was a little change of that, so they're not as predictable. Like kind of the zone entries are kind of predictable. So I don't know what we're going to do when they start scoring goals on the power play. We're not going to.
What are we going to complain about? Well, I mean, we got great goaltending tonight from Casey DeSmith. He didn't get a whole lot of help in front of him, and he didn't get enough run support. But you know, DeSmith unfortunately has his 4-game winning streak snapped. Not for anything he did wrong. He was really good tonight in a losing effort. So that was stuff on that. Let's go to Chloe. Hi, Chloe. First chat. As a Sens fan tonight, a little, let's see, that's Brendan Smith and the year after the Cup win. As a Sens fan tonight, win was a pleasant surprise.
Well, they're in the hunt. I mean,
I think that there's something to be said about dealing with that virus that was going through the team. Yeah. When you're struggling physically, it affects you mentally, and if a bunch of guys are playing under the weather, you just don't look the same. And look, it wasn't until the third period where some of the middle 6 forwards for Ottawa started to make offensive impressions to me. And of course, Highmore got the goal. Cousins had a couple chances. But all the big guns, the ones that carry this team, the Bathersons, the Kachucks, the Norrises, even Shane Pinto, who didn't make as much of an impression on me tonight, those guys were all the threats in that first and second, especially the second period.
Well, and the other thing I'd say is that, I mean, again, with the virus and guys being sick, and it happens to a lot of teams during this time of the year, they also had that tough trip. I mean, they had the World Junior in Ottawa, and so they had a 9-game road trip, and it was kind of, you know, Christmas was in the middle of it. I think they played like 6 or 7 on the road, came home for Christmas, had to go right back out on the road again. Plus, you know, they got that thing running through the room. So, you know, I think that they're probably looking at that in entirety and saying, you know what, we're a couple points behind the playoff spot, so we kind of weathered the storm or that storm as much as we can. If you're, you know, an Ottawa fan.
2 things in the follow-up to Chloe. 1, thank you for your first DLS Dallas Stars super chat. We always love the first timer. 2, Ardell is in the chat trying to convince Chloe to trade Dumba for Kachuk. I'm sure he's going to be successful.
They'll do that tomorrow.
That'll work out
one
really
for one. Yeah.
Chloe will be moving to Dallas.
Well, speaking of hot Sam over there, our friend Allie was in the chat earlier, and this isn't a super chat, but she was upset because she said, I can't stand offside reviews on plays like that, calling back a goal. Just get rid of the reviews for it. It's wrecking the game. I understand the feeling for it. Yeah, you guys can all clap. Look, it's here to stay.
I hate it.
You have to deal with it. But I understand why, because it didn't feel like this was one that really affected the outcome of the play. The problem is that if you want to get rid of the obvious ones, and it's not like goalie interference, which is really gray and they're so subjective and it's hard to get a read for it. Offside is offside. If you can see it, which from that one angle we couldn't, but from the other one you could. If you can see it, you can call it. It's black and white. And as much as I agree, it's no fun to have a fun, flashy goal taken off the board because some guy's skate is a millimeter offside. But I watched an AHL Calder Cup Game 7 goal go in that ended the series, and it was offside. And it was obvious, and that they didn't have review, and it happens. And that's what you want to avoid. Do you want a Game 7 of a Stanley Cup final decided because of an illegal entry?
Hey, Pandora's box has been opened. They're not.
That's what I mean.
They're not changing.
As much as you don't like it, I get it.
Yeah.
Right. The nitpicky ones are no fun. The obvious ones, you're like, yeah. And that's even when it works out for the Stars' favor. I get it. But we just have to live with it.
And
yeah,
in defense of the officials, this is a fast game now, and they're flying. And back in the day when they didn't have, there was no red line either, and so things were slower. So you had to slow up going through the neutral zone. Now it's a split second when things are going across that blue line, Sam.
Yeah, I agree with you, Owen. I'm not arguing that it shouldn't be. I hate it. I hate it in football. I hate it in college football so much. It slows the game down. Little things trying to just identify.
Football's already 3.5 hours. There's no slowing it down. It's already slow.
That's what I mean. I just don't like it, but I'm old school in that way, and I know it won't change. So I'll just be here yelling at kids for being in my lawn.
Let's not talk about football right now.
Yeah,
okay.
Sorry, Luds.
Yeah.
Well, I noticed we haven't seen Little Luds in a while.
Yeah. Little Luds is curled up in a ball.
Oh, that's not nice at all.
Oh, man.
Actually, it's wonderful. Well done, John. Up next, let's talk about the rest of this one as we continue here on the DLS Dallas Stars postgame show. But first, Allie was in the chat and talking about this offsides thing. However, she also sent a Twitter message and said, I have to know, did you guys coordinate your shirts today? And I responded, no. Nope. We are just in sync. We did not talk about it.
In sync.
In sync.
You guys are a boy. Oh, no way.
Oh my God. How did this happen? So what is this?
This is a shock to me.
Wait a second. How did this happen? Oh, this is a Sam thing?
No, Allie sent this on Twitter. That's where I got
Allie
it from.
sent this. Oh,
yeah, no,
good
I
job,
did not
Allie.
make this.
Wait.
If I made it, I
She tweeted this part? I missed this.
Wait a second.
If I made this up?
No, I'm kidding. I'm not kidding. I have no idea this was coming. But
Allie, we got to know which person each of us is, because I can't identify that in that thing.
Sam just doesn't want to be Lance Bass.
Commando Sam.
I would love to be Lance Bass.
So that's
JT,
quite something. I like the fact that Sean is the one that's leaning on one elbow like that.
Yeah, and he's got that sneaky creeper look on his face.
It is creepy. But no, the reason why we bring this up is because you can get these very same shirts through our merchandise store, or you can get one for free if you sign up to be a DLS diehard. Sam, show us the QR code. Right there. Or if you're not watching, if you're listening to us on the audio platforms, we thank you very much for doing that. Go to alldls.com, click on Die Hard, and you can sign up to be a Die Hard member and have the full top-level access of our website, of our show. Not only do you get every article that's written, whether it's Sam's, Sean's, all the guys with the Cowboys, Mavs, and Rangers, but you also get access to our Discord channel, which is... you can chat during the pregame show. You can chat during the postgame show. You can even chat on YouTube during the live broadcast of our weekday podcast. However, there's no YouTube chat during the game because we're not broadcasting. But they do in the Discord, and I believe our producer, John, is fairly active in there. So you can even ask him about movies because he is a huge movie buff.
Well, I was active in there until in the last week. I don't know if you've noticed this, but apparently AI has become a big hit in the Discord, and they keep AIing me like with different objects in my hand. They did it to you too, I think. I don't remember what it was, but
who me?
No, I think me.
I think it was Owen. They probably also did it for you, Lutz.
Well, yeah, it was Cyclops out.
But it'll be like me. It'll be like my face like this, and then like a hand will come up, and it will be holding like a hot dog or something.
I got something on Twitter. Maybe it was already in the Discord that I didn't see. It was me laughing, and as I leaned back, all of a sudden, like somebody's sushi roll on the chopsticks.
Oh yeah, that's what it was. You had sushi.
Yeah, which is funny because that's Luddy's thing. He's the sushi guy. I'm not. See, now you're getting hungry.
I'm getting hungry.
Go to alldls.com. Use the QR code if you're watching right now or later. Sign up to be a diehard. You get a code for a free DLS t-shirt of your choice just for signing up each year. So you get one this year and get one next year. Plus, you can go to the merch store, get a discount, buy a bunch of shirts like we do, and you can rep DLS all over the place. If you have, make sure you take photos of it and send it to us, whether it's in the Discord or on Twitter, Blue Sky, Threads. We post everywhere. So make sure you do. And we thank you very much for your support of DLS and particularly the Stars. Podcast, post-game show, pre-game show.
MySpace.
All right.
Bing bang.
We have another super chat.
Well, oddly enough, so this is all we've got here. It just says super chat. But then if you look on the YouTube, which apparently just crashed before my eyes,
Mine too.
it says that the message was retracted. So I guess Jordan must have regretted what they said. So I did put in the chat, Jordan, if whatever your message is that you may or may not have wanted to send here, feel free to send it again. You don't have to pay again.
Are we censored on this show or something?
No, maybe he or she. Jordan works
exactly
goes both ways. It's hard. Maybe they.
What?
Yeah,
that's what I said
okay.
when I announced the name.
Yep.
But
you don't know. So maybe they decided not to. He or she decided not to submit or didn't like it or whatever. By the way, as Luddy's giving me the funny look, Allie gets in the chat and specifies, and I cannot talk tonight. Sam is Chris Kirkpatrick. Luds is Lance.
I don't know who these people are.
Sean is
Lance
JT.
Bass.
And Owen is Joey. Oh, man, I get Joey.
I'm the only one I don't even know. Who is Chris?
Well, he's clearly the guy with the headband.
He's got radical hair.
Who's in the middle?
Lud's
John?
mustache. Lud's mustache, though.
No, he's the other member.
band.
the middle would be a good place to have
Who
put
is that
the
in the
other
middle?
member of the show's
JP?
head, Allie. But
Oh, okay.
I can't remember the other
How
one.
many
John
of them are
didn't
there?
get-
4 or 5?
Five.
John's left
Five?
out.
yeah,
Jason said
feel
that
very
Chris
left
is the
out right
oldest
now.
member of NSYNC. Sam is
Oh,
heartbroken. Christian says Sam is heartbroken not to be Justin Timberlake.
He's the only one who went on for an excellent single career, right? Isn't he?
Wait, is he singing
on,
the
guys.
words or something over here?
I don't know what he's doing. Oh, Ardell is starting to use the Eminem lyrics from that. Yep. Allie said she couldn't find a picture fast enough. That's really funny. They're having a good time. Jordan is a she. Thank you, Jordan, for joining the chat. My question was, I've never played sports. What is it about a certain location that gives teams such bad luck? It's crazy we can't win in Ottawa. See, I told you, you can't assume that Jordan would be a he or a she. So it's she. Thank you for the submission. And it's fascinating. Yuri Hudler scored on his own net for the Stars back in 2016 on a drop pass from center ice that missed everybody and went in the empty net during a delayed call. The Stars were losing 1-0, but out shooting Ottawa. They were outplaying them. And then that game cratered after that moment. Well, since that game, Dallas has not won in Ottawa. In fact, they are 0-6-2 in their last 8 trips to the Canadian capital. What is it about
Don't
it,
look at
Luds?
me. I can't explain it. I don't know. And and it's not like it's a top 5 team in the league. So, and you can't use the excuse they've been in town for 2 days and this and that. They traveled, Dallas traveled. So I don't know.
And Ottawa wasn't good other than basically that year or the next year, right? Didn't they go to the final or the Eastern Conference final one of those years, somewhere around there? Other than that, they've been out of the playoff team, so there's really no reason for it. The Stars have been pretty much a good team since then, and Ottawa's been a bad team. So I don't know either.
If you again, I know we're talking about Ottawa only, but I mean, if you go into Toronto and you win that hockey game, you're going to forget about this game here because it's going to end up being a hell of a road trip.
Yep.
So we'll see.
Jason said, aren't the Sens
Okay.
planning on a new arena in downtown Ottawa? Yes. The new ownership group is trying, because remember,
They've been talking about this for 10 years now?
Well, Eugene Melnick, the old owner who passed away, I believe it was last year.
2 years now.
2 years now?
Yeah.
So he was trying and failed through a couple different mechanisms. And now Ann Lauer, the new owner, sounds cautiously optimistic, but it is because of government land and control. You know how those things can be very dicey until the end. So until it's over the finish line, you can never assume that it's done. But where the Canadian Tire Center is compared to downtown Ottawa, it's really out in the burbs. It's, what is it, 40,
I wonder why
45
they don't
minutes?
just move to Quebec. They got a brand new building there.
They're not dragging a team out of Ottawa. No chance.
I don't know. I'm just asking.
Well, did you like having the Nordiques as a rival when you were with Montreal?
It was great. Quebec's a great city. Great
Is
city.
the problem that it's just too small for the market size that
Well,
the
I don't
NHL
think you're going
wants
to get
now?
a team there. I mean, now with the exchange rate, and,
That's
all that kind of stuff. So and you're paying everybody in American money, and so they're going to end up anybody that's going to lose money there.
See,
GST.
Just blame Yuri Hoodler, whether it's the Stars record in Ottawa or why the Nordiques can't get a new place in the new building that's not Le Colisée. Site of my first ever NHL game as a fan was 1994 Bruins Nordiques. It was pretty exciting. But by the way, Ardell wanted to tell Sam that he would win the DLLS Stars dance-off. Is that because you and I wouldn't participate?
I probably wouldn't be there.
Yeah. So
I would be getting down on it.
yeah, let him do it. See? Oh, no.
Yeah.
I actually have to stand up for our producer. We've seen video evidence that he's willing to go all in. So it would be quite a battle between you two.
No shame.
My money is on John. Sorry, Sam.
We could do this. Sam, have you seen the meme from Sonic the Hedgehog 3 of Jim Carrey dancing?
No.
Oh, you haven't seen this? It'll go out from Star's Twitter at some point. I've been sitting on it, but Jim Carrey does an insane dance in Sonic the Hedgehog 3 where I don't know. I mean, I don't know for sure. People are saying that it's actually Jim Carrey dancing, but it's him dressed up as there's two of him on the screen at the same time with some song playing, doing this absurd dance that's been taken over TikTok.
How can we believe anything anymore that it's a certain person? Like, how do you believe anything?
There's the ability for CGI is so good now.
CGI?
Computer-generated images.
Yeah, see, learn something new on this show all the time.
Special effects.
And I'm probably the last one to learn that.
It's all LucasArts and Skywalker Ranch magic. They're really good.
Oh, I love Skywalker.
Yeah.
Skywalker Ranch.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that show.
Yeah.
Oh, it's true. It's for real, man.
Which is funny because you're more of a Star Trek than a Star Wars guy.
Oh, maybe I'm talking about Skinwalker.
Why? That's a totally different show.
I had a really strong feeling.
I was thinking something
really strong feeling that was
okay. That just came to me. Skywalker, Skinwalker.
Star Wars, Skywalker Ranch. That's George Lucas's thing. All right, let's move on because we are about fading here on our post-game show to the man of the match. Sam, who's your man of the match today? And remember, it doesn't have to be a Dallas Star. It can be whoever you think was the best player in the game.
Come back to me.
He defers on punts to the second half already. Typical NFL coach. He said, "Come back to me."
I said,
that's
pass.
who he went with. Anonymous.
We'll let you go first then.
All right.
For once. You don't know either, do you?
I'm just looking
Nobody
to
really
make my decision.
amazing.
I kind of have to go with Josh Norris. Scored that great goal, tied the game. He had a ton of chances early. I wanted to say maybe Kachuk, but that goal changed everything quickly in the early part of the second period. Then they get the goal from Stützle right after it, and the Stars were chasing the rest of the way. So I'm going to go with Josh Norris, who I had said pregame hasn't been very good lately, struggled with points. Got a big goal to get them going in the second period.
I'll go with Marilainen. The goaltender.
Thank you.
I
was trying to figure out. I was
gave
trying to
up a
remember how
goal.
to say his name.
Levi Marilainen, and he played
Thank
both
you.
halves of the back-to-back.
Yeah, that's
which
the only reason.
isn't superhuman, Luds.
No.
But it doesn't happen very often these days because with all the performance metrics that teams use with their training and performance staffs, they typically don't, and the sports science stuff, they don't like to have their goalies play consecutive days. But he had the shutout last night. He comes in. He was very good. Made some big saves.
I think they're waiting there. They're trying to buy time for Allmark to get back in there.
Well, they got a big win tonight. Marilainen's got 2 wins in a row as he stopped 24 of 26 to get the victory. And Sam, we've stalled as long as we could for you.
Just throw a dart, Sam. Throw a dart.
The number one I was trying to figure out was how to say his name. So I was going to say Marilainen because of that, but I will say Norris. I think he led a pretty good charge for them in the second period.
By the way, Christian says Allen American legend Levi Marilainen.
I didn't know he played there. What year? Anybody?
2 years ago? Or was
Christian,
it
what
parts
year?
of last year?
Didn't know that. Yeah.
I can find out for you, but as we're all typing it out, he played 13 games last year.
Okay.
with
last
Allen.
season.
And then, of course, the rest of the year with Belleville, which is their AHL affiliate.
So he must be the one that got the coach fired?
Was it?
Well, I don't know.
I don't know. You know more about it than I do. Yeah. Okay, so as we wrap up this one, we have to remind you that because of the games are coming fast and furious, we do not have much in the way of regular shows because we have another game show. We are off tomorrow because we have another 4-game week. And this game will be Tuesday night, the end of the road trip, against the Toronto Maple Leafs up at Scotiabank Arena in downtown Toronto. Traffic is terrible getting in and out of there, especially during rush hour times. But it is another glitzy, glamour type of location. Nothing better than Saturday night, hockey night in Canada and Montreal. But a night in Toronto is always a big game. And the Stars, who Toronto have a really good shot at winning their division this year. Now,
I mean, this, again, just throwing a dart, this could be a Stanley Cup final matchup.
very possible.
It really could. I mean, Toronto's with Chief behind the bench now. They've tightened things up and they play a little bit harder. And I think they're being built a little bit better to compete in at that time of the year, starting in April. So, and Dallas is going to get better. I mean, again, we got to not better. They've been good. I mean, it's going to be nice when they get Marchment back and Sagan back, and so we'll see if they make something. So they'll make some noise heading down the stretch.
And the last point I wanted to throw your way is the Stars won 7 of 8 points in 9 of their last 10. And Luddy was talking this to me off air. All against, or mostly against, teams that are not in a playoff spot. You still have to win those games, and that's really good. But Luds, what stands out to you most about the next 3 weeks of games?
Almost all of them. I know. I mean, we're talking, what is it all? Vegas, Carolina, Detroit's playing great right
Detroit
now.
just
Montreal,
won their 7th in a row.
We know how Montreal played them the other night. The Avs are in there. Vancouver, who knows what's going on in Vancouver, but
2 games against Vegas.
I mean, it's a tough stretch. Again, winning, and again, you look at those numbers, you win, 4 of them games and you back them up, the games that we're talking about, it adds up because now you're playing teams that are either right behind you or right ahead of you.
Yeah. Big, meaningful 4-pointers. Tuesday night, 5:30 pregame show, 6 o'clock. Sam, are you going to be in studio with us on Tuesday?
I'll be right there with the boys.
Nice. So he'll be here, which means that we will have the whole group minus Sean all together. So that'll be nice.
As long as I make it through Spirit Airlines.
At least most of In Sync.
Sam, are you coming back on your own, or are you coming back with a companion?
On my own. Just Sam. You don't get both. Sorry.
Sam's got another semester to survive.
Oh, yeah? Okay.
Yep.
Sam, any final thoughts before we wrap this one up?
No, I'm really excited for this game on Tuesday. I will say Toronto's been a pain in the buns for this Dallas team for a very long time. So I hope they can go in there and get a win.
Well, I would like to thank everybody for tuning in, including some of the new people in the chat that maybe hadn't been there before. We love it. More people, more interaction. Hit those super chats. And, of course, make sure you like and subscribe. Tell your friends. Tell your family. Get everybody to subscribe at DLS on the YouTube channel. That helps us a lot. Super chats are fun, too. But mostly, spread the word. The more people that find out, the more they'll understand that we are providing great coverage of the Dallas Stars all the time, 5 days a week. We'll have a regular show on Wednesday with games Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, and Sunday next week. For Sam Nessler and Craig Ludwig and our producer, John Anderson, the dancing maestro of the show, I'm Owen Newkirk. Thanks for joining us. Once again, the final score, Ottawa 3, Dallas 2. We hope that you have a great rest of your Sunday. So long, everyone.
Who are you people?